Valentine's Day is supposed to be about love, about flowers left at the door, cards signed with hearts, someone choosing you above everyone else. But no one talks about what happens when love turns quiet, when it watches, when it waits. Every year on Valentine's Day, people disappear, relationships end, and some loves don't die, they just change. These aren't ghost stories. These are the kinds of things that happen when someone loves you too much, or when you realize you were never really alone to begin with. Tonight, I want to tell you 3 Valentine's Day stories. And if you're listening to this alone, you might want to stay that way. First story. Every Valentine's Day since college, I receive flowers. Not delivered by a courier, not left with the concierge, always placed carefully outside my front door. Red roses, fresh, expensive, and always the same small white card tucked into the ribbon with 2 words written in neat handwriting. Always yours. At first, I thought it was a mistake. In college, I asked around, laughed it off, assumed maybe someone had a crush and didn't have the courage to say it out loud. When I graduated and moved cities, I expected it to stop. It didn't. New apartment, new building, different floor, same roses, same card. I never had a serious relationship. No long-term examples, no dramatic breakup, just a few dates here and there, nothing that explained a tradition spanning more than a decade. Friends joked that it was romantic. My mom said it was sweet in a mysterious way. I told myself it was probably someone harmless, someone awkward, someone who'd eventually move on. And honestly, after a while, it became routine. Until this year. This year, the card was heavier than usual, thicker paper, and when I read it, my stomach dropped. Always yours. I'm glad you finally fixed the loose floorboard by the window. I sat on the floor, staring at the words, reading them again and again. I had fixed that floorboard 2 weeks earlier. It creaked every time I stepped near the window in my living room. I hadn't told anyone about it. Not friends, not family. I hadn't posted about it. I barely even noticed it myself, just a small annoyance in my flat. Someone knew. That night, I didn't sleep. I double-checked the locks, closed the curtains, sat in silence, listening to every sound the building made, pipes, footsteps, the lift. All normal, all suddenly terrifying. At around 2 a.m., I did something I should have done years ago. I pulled out the box. Inside were every Valentine's card I'd ever received. I'd kept them without really thinking why. Maybe curiosity, maybe denial. I laid them out across the floor in order, starting with the first one from college. That's when I noticed it. The handwriting. At a glance, it looked the same. But when I leaned closer, compared them properly, I realized it wasn't static. It had aged. The earliest cards had rounder letters, softer curves. The newer ones were sharper, more deliberate. The spacing between words changed. The pressure of the pen deepened. Even the way the Y in yours dipped lower over the years, subtle, gradual. Whoever wrote these hadn't stayed the same. They'd grown older. With me. My hands were shaking as I noticed another detail. The spelling. A very specific habit, double spacing after periods, something I do without thinking, something most people don't do anymore. I felt sick. I stood up and walked slowly to the window. That's when I remembered something I hadn't thought about in years. In college, I lived across from another building. Same height, same layout. My bedroom window lined up perfectly with someone else's. I used to feel watched back then, especially at night. I'd even mentioned it once, jokingly, to a flatmate. Nothing ever came of it. I moved out. Life went on. But maybe someone hadn't moved on at all. I didn't call the police. I didn't know what I'd even say. Instead, I searched through my old photos, screenshots, saved memories, things I'd never deleted. In one blurry group photo from years ago, I noticed a reflection in a window behind us. A silhouette. Someone standing at the glass, looking straight out. This morning, there was a message on my phone. No number, just text. "You're alone now." I waited. I haven't opened my door today. The roses are still outside, fresh, perfect. And for the first time, I understand something I never considered before. The cards were never about love. They were about patience.
Second story,
The couples only restaurant. The reservation email didn't have a logo, no photos, no address I could Google, just a time, a name, and one line at the bottom. Please arrive as a couple. Single guests are not permitted. My partner thought it was funny. Probably one of those underground pop-up restaurants, they said. You know, exclusive, mysterious. It was Valentine's Day. Everything felt slightly off anyway. The car dropped us on a quiet side street I didn't recognize. No other restaurants, no traffic. Just a narrow building with a single red light above the door. No sign, no menu, no windows. Inside, a woman in black checked our names off a list. She didn't smile. "Phones off," she said. "Mirrors are not permitted. If you have any reflective items, please place them in the tray." I laughed, thinking it was part of the experience. My partner hesitated, but handed over their phone anyway. The dining room was beautiful. Candlelight, soft music. About a dozen tables, all filled with couples. Everyone dressed nicely. Everyone quiet. Too quiet. No one was talking above a whisper. No laughter. No clinking glasses. Just murmured conversations and the slow movement of servers dressed identically. Black suits, white gloves. We sat. The menu had no prices. Just 3 courses. Beginning, middle, end. When the first course arrived, the server leaned in and said something strange. "Please enjoy this part together." I noticed something then. Every couple around us was at a different stage of the meal. Some had only just sat down. Others were halfway through dessert. And some tables were empty, plates cleared, candles still burning. "Do people leave early?" I asked quietly. My partner shook their head. "I haven't seen anyone stand up." That's when I realized couples weren't leaving. They were being escorted. Every few minutes, a server would approach a table, lean down, and whisper something. The couple would go pale. One of them would nod. Then both would stand and follow the server through a door at the back. No goodbyes, no coats, no returns. By the time our main course arrived, I felt sick. I leaned over to my partner and whispered, "Something's wrong." They didn't answer right away. They were staring at the couple across from us, a young pair holding hands tightly, knuckles white. "They look scared," my partner said. That's when the server returned. "For your final course," she said softly, "we separate." I laughed, a sharp, nervous sound. "What?" "Just briefly," she replied. "We need to see how you finish." My partner stood before I could stop them. "I don't like this," they said. "We're leaving." The server's smile faded. "Not everyone leaves together," she said. 2 other servers appeared behind my partner. Calm, polite, firm. "I'll be right back," my partner whispered, trying to reassure me. They followed the servers through the door. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. I stood up, but the woman in black gently placed a hand on my shoulder. "Please sit," she said. "You've passed your portion." I didn't understand what that meant until I looked around. The couples still seated were different now. Younger, closer, leaning in, whispering, smiling through fear. The empty tables were growing. I ran to the back door. Locked. I screamed my partner's name. No answer. Eventually, the woman in black returned with a small card. She placed it in front of me. "Thank you for dining with us." I never saw my partner again. The police couldn't find the restaurant. The street doesn't exist on any map. And every Valentine's Day since, I get emails advertising exclusive dining experiences, all addressed to both of us. But now, they always end the same way. Single guests may now apply. Third story. Bloody Mary Valentine edition. I'd heard the Bloody Mary story my entire life. Say her name 3 times in a mirror, candles lit, lights off. She appears, she screams, she kills you. I never believed any of it. But on Valentine's Day, after a few drinks and too much scrolling through couples' photos online, my friends decided to add a twist to the game. They said Bloody Mary works differently on Valentine's night. Instead of just saying her name, you have to bring something that once belonged to someone who loved you, something real, something personal. We laughed about it at first, made jokes. Everyone acted like they didn't care, but I noticed how carefully people chose what they brought. A necklace, a ring, a folded note. I told myself I wouldn't play, but later that night, alone in my flat, the silence felt heavier than usual. No messages, no plans, just the hum of the city outside my window. I remembered the necklace, an old one, cheap silver, a gift from someone I used to love a long time ago, someone I never properly said goodbye to. I don't know why I grabbed it. The bathroom lights went off with a click that sounded louder than it should have. I lit 3 candles and set them on the sink. The mirror reflected my face in warm, uneven light. I held the necklace in my fist. "Bloody Mary," I said quietly. Nothing happened. Bloody Mary. My reflection looked tired, older than I felt. Bloody Mary. The candles flickered. Still nothing. I laughed at myself, embarrassed, and turned the lights back on. That's when I noticed something was wrong. My reflection moved a fraction of a second too late, just enough to make my stomach drop. I stared at myself, blinked, smiled. The reflection followed, but it felt delayed, like it was thinking first. I stepped back from the mirror. The reflection didn't. I turned away, heart racing, and told myself I was imagining things. Too tired, too lonely, too dramatic. The next day, couples everywhere looked different, not happy, tense. I noticed arguments that seemed to come out of nowhere. People stopping mid-sentence, staring into shop windows, their reflections frozen while their bodies kept moving. That night, I checked my mirror again. She wasn't standing behind me. She was standing in me. My reflection wasn't Bloody Mary, not exactly. It was me, but younger, softer, smiling the way I used to when I was in love. Then it changed. Another version of me appeared. Then another. Different hair, different clothes, different years. Every version I'd been while someone loved me. I dropped the necklace. The reflection leaned closer. And I understood. Bloody Mary doesn't kill people on Valentine's Day. She shows you who you were when you were loved. And then she takes it away. The next morning, my phone was empty. Old messages, gone. Photos, deleted. Even names in my contacts blurred like they'd never existed. I tried to remember faces, voices, moments. They felt distant, faded. That night, my mirror was normal again, just me. No warmth, no softness, no echoes. I haven't been able to feel romantic love since, not even a little. And every Valentine's Day now, at exactly midnight, my mirror fogs over on its own. 3 words appear slowly, traced from the inside. You were beautiful then. I don't light candles anymore, but the mirror still remembers.